So good evening. Welcome to this week's Friday Study Circle. And we are a small group today, but in small group, I've seen that usually the interaction, the sharing is much more deep. So I'm really looking forward to this. So I would request whoever is ready, Sarda ji or Captain, you can please start with anything that you would like to share today.
Okay. In fact, 3 weeks back, there was some talk that, like I was on the day speaking on how to eat, how to sleep, how to do this and all this. So then this was there that probably how to sleep we will take up in the next class. But after that, the 2 weeks we never had the meeting. So I was having the sleepless nights because I prepared for some sleep, good sleep, but we could not conduct. So that is why I'll take this opportunity to start off. Mother has set very elaborate arrangement formula for how to sleep actually, and I got a book. So from that there are 8 references actually. She had spoken about the sleep, and I have quoted those. And so probably I will read when doubt comes. So probably we can do that in Connect word. Otherwise, it's very easy actually, easy to understand. There is nothing new, but yes, there is a method of how to go to bed in the evening
So
when finishing
Captain,
the
should
sleep
I
work.
pull it up in the incarnate word right now, or are you getting it from somewhere else? Should I pull up incarnate word while you?
No, not yet because these are all small, one or two
Okay,
sentences I have
okay,
got. And when the bigger this thing comes, and if any question
I've
comes, then
understood.
probably.
Okay, okay, yes.
So I have a book that is Living Within.
Yes.
So in that, it is something like notes from all the material, all have been accumulated in this actually. And the chapter itself is sleep. But there are 8 references, 8 places they have referred in this. So I start here that how to sleep. So in one place it was shown that the yogis who minimize their sleep succeed only after a long tapasya, in which they learn how to control the forces of nature governing the body. So this was about the yogis and who are doing tapasya. So they hardly sleep. Like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he used to sleep maybe 1 or 2 hours only out of 24 hours. And all those disciples also, like Vivekananda and all this, they were not allowed to sleep. When they were sleeping with him, and he will put water in their body and all, and they will get up at 2 o'clock. They will go to bed at 12, and they will get up at 1 or 2 o'clock or something like that. He says the life has been given not for sleeping; it has got a purpose. So we have to achieve that. So that's what this point I have noted. The yogis who minimize their sleep succeed only after a long tapasya, in which they learn how to control the forces of nature governing the body. So this was one point. Then, if you are not sleeping, then want of sleep, mother said, the nervous system is exposed to weakness. It is a great mistake not to take sufficient sleep. So mother says that you have to have sufficient sleep. 7 hours is the minimum needed. She has prescribed, not 6 and not 8. She says that 7 hours is the minimum needed. Then she said that both for fevers and mental trouble, sleep is a great help. So those who are having a fever and those are having a mental problem, for them,
Sorry, Captain, can you please
medicine.
repeat the sentence again? I couldn't hear properly.
Yes, madam.
Can you please repeat the sentence which you read just now, the second point? Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear because some internet issues there.
Okay, you want the incarnate word?
No, what you have read, can you repeat again, I'm saying?
Okay, I'll repeat.
Yeah.
Actually, voice is not very clear, so that's what the sound system. Here I am in Kolkata now. I'm
Okay.
traveling. I have put the connection on my PC from the phone, actually, Wi-Fi, because there was no
Oh,
Wi-Fi here. So I have
okay.
taken from the Wi-Fi from my phone.
Okay.
Otherwise, I was in Bangalore, so everything was very audible. Here, somehow, not, little less volume is coming. I'll repeat. This mother says that want of sleep, if anybody has if they are having the want of sleep, the nervous system is exposed to weakness. It is a great mistake not to take sufficient sleep. That's what she says. And 7 hours is the minimum needed, she told. Then both for fevers and mental trouble, the sleep is a great help, because I have seen in my life that those who are having the mental problem, there was one school going child of class 12. Then tomorrow was the final examination, board examination, and just before going, he is telling where I am going, and I don't remember anything. Today there is exam. The day of exam in the morning, just 1 hour prior to exam, like that, it's everything became the blank. His memory and things like that. Then he was taken to the psychologist and psychiatrist and all, and they say that this happens, and then he was put on medicine, and in the medicine treatment, he was sleeping almost for 18 hours or 20 hours or something like that. He's eating something and he's falling to sleep. That means there itself, somebody has to hold that person. He's a young chap, say 17 years of age. So I was very much worried and all, but after 1 year treatment, he recovered. He recovered, and he was in merchant navy and now he's a successful person. It has never happened again. So what I'm saying is that mental trouble, the sleep is a great help. So the tranquilizer type of medicine they prescribe, all for the medicine. Then she asked question, why does one sleep? The body needs rest, point number one. It's necessary that in the present condition of life, activity and rest and activity must alternate. So since we are very busy in our life, so the rest and activity must alternate. The physical and all material physical parts of the body should be absolutely at rest. Vital must be in a repose of silence, and the mind to be kept like that without any activity. You must put upon the brain the force of great peace, great quietude of silence, and not follow ideas actively, not make any effort, nothing. You must relax all movement there too, but relax it in a kind of silence and quietude as great as possible. Then inner being, which is rarely in relation with the outer life, because of outer life is too noisy, and outer life because too unconscious for it to be able to manifest itself, can become aware of itself and awaken, become active and act upon the lower parts, establishes a conscious contact. This is the real reason for sleep. So this is a little long sentence, so we want to put the internet part to otherwise. Because every parts of the body should be put to rest. Actually, subsequently the things that will be coming actually. Why does one sleep?
Captain, is this it?
Just 1 minute, because I've taken the questions from here and there. So let
Yeah.
me see
So
that,
why does one sleep? If you could tell me what goes after that. But there are millions and millions of beings. Is this right?
yes, yes. They sleep because they feel sleepy. They eat because they are hungry. That is one of the normal portions actually throughout the world, and they do foolish things because the instincts pull them without thinking, without reasoning. But for those who know sleep is a school, an excellent school for something other than the school of waking hours. So that's sleeping also. She says that it is like school. In another school for another purpose, but it is a school. If one wants to make the maximum progress possible, one must know how to use one's nights as one uses one's days only. Usually, people don't at all know what to do and they try to remain awake, and all that they create is a physical and vital imbalance, and sometimes a mental one also as a result. The physical and material physical parts should be absolutely addressed, but a repose which is not a fall into the inconscient, this is one of the conditions. And the vital must be in a repose of silence. Then, if you have these three things at rest, the inner being, which is rarely in relation with the outer life, because the outer life is too noisy and too unconscious for it to be able to manifest itself, can become aware of itself and awaken, become active and act upon the lower parts, establish a conscious contact. This is the real reason for sleep, and apart from the necessity that in the present conditions of life, activity rest rest and activity must alternate. So it's all very easy to understand. If any this thing, otherwise I continue. If any questions or something. Should I continue?
I think yes, Captain. Go on.
Yeah.
Yes, Captain. Did you hear me? You
Okay.
can.
Now the paragraph starts. The ideal you see is to enter integral repose. You see, the ideal you see is to enter an integral repose. Yeah. Yes. So the ideal you see is to enter an integral repose. Uh, that is immobility in the body, perfect peace in the vital, absolute silence in the mind. And the consciousness goes out of all activity to enter into Satchidananda, Sat Chit Ananda. That is a trinity of absolute existence, consciousness, and bliss. Uh, that is Sri Aurobindo has mentioned Satchidananda. If you can do this, then when you wake up, you get up with the feeling of an extraordinary power, perfect joy. But it is not very easy to do this. It can be done. This is the ideal condition. Actually, the day I read 3 weeks back, and I was trying to follow it meticulously, and I got a good result from the day one onwards. I exactly slept for 7 hours, and when I got up, and I was so fresh and energetic to do anything. Actually, I was very fresh in my mind that you know that all the faculty of the mind was working. It was ready to tackle any challenge. So that was the condition. It may not be Sachidananda, but I really had to change what I used to have otherwise. Then one place she says that you have to go to bed like a rag. So when you have succeeded in doing this, there is always a little flame there. That flame never goes out. It starts with you should go to bed like a rag.
Am I writing something incorrect, Captain? You should go to bed like a rag, you said, right?
Rag, yes.
Give me something else, please. Another line.
Anyway, I will read out actually because
Okay,
I have
so-
noted down
Okay.
in my notes.
Okay, yes, you read.
Okay. You should go to bed like a rag. When you have succeeded in doing this, there is always a little flame, little flame there. That flame never goes out, and you become conscious of it when you have managed this relaxation, and all of a sudden, this little flame rises slowly into an aspiration for, sorry, for into an aspiration for the divine life, the truth, the consciousness of the divine, the union with the inner being. It goes higher and higher. It rises like that very gently. Then everything gathers there, and if at that moment you fall asleep, you have the best sleep you could possibly have. And then mother says that
Yeah, Captain, I think maybe we can pause because
okay.
it's just, yeah. But like again, you can see maybe this again, it's
Okay.
mostly, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Like she's saying the same thing in different words. So maybe we can just, spend 2-3 minutes on this so that we all understand. Would anybody else just like to read this whole paragraph again that Captain had read?
I can read.
Please.
Okay. If one is physically very tired, it is better not to go to sleep immediately. Otherwise, one falls into the inconscient. If one is very tired, one must stretch out on the bed, relax, loosen all the nerves one after another until one becomes like a rumpled cloth in one's bed, as though one had neither bones nor muscles. When one has done that, the same thing must be done in the mind. Relax. Do not concentrate on any idea or try to solve a problem or ruminate on impressions, sensations, or emotions you had during the day. All that must be allowed to drop off quietly. One gives oneself up. One is indeed like a rag. When you have succeeded in doing this, there is always a little flame. There, that flame never goes out, and you become conscious of it when you have managed this relaxation. And all of a sudden, this little flame rises slowly into an aspiration for the divine life, the truth, the consciousness of the divine, the union with the inner being. It goes higher and higher, it rises like that, very gently. Then everything gathers there, and if at that moment you fall asleep, you have the best sleep you could possibly have. I guarantee if you could do this carefully, you're sure to sleep, and also sure that instead of falling into a dark hole, you will sleep in light. And when you get up in the morning, you will be fresh, fit, content, happy, and full of energy for the day.
This is very interesting. Like I have heard, Captain, I had heard what you had shared before I had read it, in bits and pieces. But again, to see this flame, it's like, I think I'm reading this after a long time and almost forgotten. But if you relax like this, both physically and mentally, it's very interesting that you will become aware of the flame of aspiration. But it's like I find this really interesting that how most things are paradoxical, right? Like here, mother is saying that if you're very tired, then don't sleep, right? And usually everybody, we have been, I don't know, raised with the sentence that you look very tired, go to sleep, like, and if the kid is like going crazy with tiredness, we are like, okay, just, anything, just put him to bed because that feels like the right thing to do. And yet she says that you will just fall into the inconscient. Very interesting. Yeah. Anything from you, Jasmine? Maybe Kabir is around. You are not able to share today. That's okay. So yes, Captain. We can proceed further. This was really nice. I just wanted to sit on it for a minute.
This is really interesting. I missed a little the bit 10 minutes, so
Yeah.
I think even this idea of what Sharda just read, I find it very interesting. I don't know. I have no experience with this, but
Yeah.
never noticed it. So just you can read further. I'm just listening for now.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Captain. You can tell me what to look for next. Yeah, Captain. Can you hear me? Captain?
Anything, actually, the major points which I have noted, that has already been covered. And in one place, mother says that where somebody has got a prayer to the Lord before going to bed, and so that practice they can continue. They should not change that. Before going to bed, that some of the people they normally they remember their God and do some prayer. So that should be continued. They should not discontinue that. But before, like as it was mentioned there, it should be like a rag that if you're too tired and you feel like I just want to just lie down and sleep. So that is not advisable. She says that you have to relax before you go to the bed. You have to relax each and every part of the body. So you have to hold your horses. Like straight away, don't go to the bed because then already you are taken over by something that tiredness or weakness or and all those actually. So then that sort of state will continue if you are switching off at that state. So somehow you have to little more like when you are doing a physical this thing in Shavasana. Shavasana they say that this is the easiest, but there are many people they have got the other alternative because you are just relaxing like a dead body. You are just lying down. But actually speaking, this is one of the very important and difficult asana, the Shavasana. They say your every part as if it is not there. You are totally forgotten about all the parts. There's no senses. So every parts of our being should relax. Like mother also says, it should be like a rag. That just lying on the bed, and no life, no life is there. So that was the thing actually, which if we can attain that state, so probably in the when we are very very weak, so at the time also very tired, and at the time also we must do this so that we get the best benefit of the sleep as prescribed by mother. So I have finished what I noted down, and if any this comes.
Yes, Captain. Thank you. And it works wonders. Like I don't know if we have practiced this, especially I had traveled. I had shared last week to Auroville, and on my first night again it was a long day because like 3 hours of flight, and then you reach the airport 2 hours early, then 3 hours of car drive from Chennai and stuff. So when I was finally in bed, it was like that, oh my God, like everything was hurting and stuff. And it's like, one is tired and awake at the same time, right? Because, and slowly I just started doing this, like it was calling peace in the cells, and the whole everything just, it's like as if whoosh disappeared, all that tension in the muscles and that overactive, because of the kinetic energy, how after the airplane also it feels that you something is still going on, right? That movement is still there. And when it got settled, I would say in less than 30-40 seconds, like it just works like miracles. And there's just one more funny thing I would want to share, that initially, like Monica had always had a very conscious sleep. It's like she sleeps for 15 minutes and then she'll just say a question or write something or get up and read something stuff. And I would sleep like dumb. Like we'll be talking like late at night and she it's something interesting she wants to share and I'm listening and I can't, kind of hold my sleep. So I would just fall on my laptop or on my phone, and after an hour I'll get up. And the next day she would be like, "But how can you even do this? Like I find it physically impossible. But how can somebody just fall into the sleep?" And I would say that I find you impossible, right? That how is it, like how do you feel fresh, right? That if you're getting up every 15, not every, but it's like she never sleeps. Like it feels she slept, and again you'll hear a voice saying about, Kabir said this, or so it's very interesting that how it's so different for different people. And yet that falling on my laptop and all, thankfully it's decreased a lot. It hasn't completely vanished. But yeah, it's very funny, the whole diet. When the chapter was reading, I was remembering those old times. And yeah. Yeah, sorry for this sidetrack. Anything anybody wants to say? Yes, Jasmine.
No, I think that's a gift to fall on the laptop. I would like to have that. I'm more like Monica, but I just remember when the captain was saying that, in yoga nidra, because I used to have problems sleeping, so I tried yoga nidra. So I just quick clicked that, in yoga nidra, you kind of relax your whole body part, and it's said that 20 minutes of yoga nidra is like, I don't know how many hours of sleep, the rest, which makes sense. And it's also interesting, right? कि पहले तो spirituality में जीना नहीं आता, अब सोने का भी it's coming to a point, यार सोना भी नहीं आता. Yeah, but interesting that, we don't really consciously sleep. So it's nice to see like mothers writing on that. So that reminded me of yoga nidra because they recommend it, which is the similar thing. And it does you connect to every part of your body and you rest your body and mind, and it's hard to do, but yeah, I do remember when I did that before sleeping, I woke up much more fresh. Yeah. Thank you.
And Jasmine, on the same note, they say that, like, not they say, I've experienced this for myself, that if you sleep less, say you just had like 3-4 hours of sleep and say you're used to 6 to 7, after waking up, if you just do say 10 to 15 minutes, even 5 minutes of yoga nidra, you just like it feels that you've just refreshed, you're refreshed. I remember that, I don't know why I'm so full of stories today, but just before coronavirus, I used to have regular yoga sessions. A sir used to come to my home, Satya sir, and the class used to be at like 6 a.m. So most of the time, especially in the winters, it used to be dark. So I used to be just wake up and just be ready for the class. And the first thing I used to so often tell him, sir, bas yoga nidra kara do, only 10 minutes. And he would be like, you've just woken up, stand up, do this and that. But I used to like kind of sit there and request him. So many a times out of kindness, at the end, he used to do that. Okay, now you can do it. But he used to remind me, you've just woken up, you don't need it. So it's so nice to actually have these tools. But hardly we are not many of us are aware, right? And even if we are aware, I think the faith is not there that it would actually work. So yeah, so thank you to Captain for sharing the sleep thing in such great details. And Captain, on the same note, I have really benefited from what the eating thing you had shared with us. the eating, how to eat. You had shared 4 points. So I personally have started incorporating those points in my everyday, like not fully there, but I am very thankful to you for sharing that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you please repeat those 4 points? I don't think I know what that is.
Yeah, so you cannot miss the Friday study circle.
Yes.
What for the food you wanted?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Cap.
No, there actually.
I don't mind the repetition again.
Uh, no, in fact, I was thinking that what mother has said is the same thing, like which I was narrating on that day. There are 4 important points without going into the explanations. There are 4 important points you must remember. The first point was whenever you are feeling hungry, you should eat, because this is from the inner feeling that you are the appetite you are feeling that I have to eat something. So since this was from your inside, so you should not neglect, because we give a lot of excuses that I'm in the office and I was very busy, I was this, that, and all this. So that's all we must avoid. So whenever you feel hungry, you should eat. So make your time and eat. That is one. And secondly, when you are eating, you're mindful, like your concentration should be on the food, and don't see some television or some political discussion or something or other thing, which normally we do in the dining table. We just gossip around some topic and this and that, or somebody switches on. Even the children, they see some cartoon film and all this. From the beginning of their life, they have started with this. When they have been fed, and they are seeing. So these are all to be discontinued, and we have to be mindful. Means we must thank God, or before that we can do a prayer also. That thank you God for the food we eat, like in the school we used to say. And in the Ramakrishna mission, there is one Gita slok, the one of the one of the neighbors of the Ramakrishna mission. They will come before the lunch is served, whether 500, 600 people are sitting together and eating lunch. So they will tell that mantra. It is 4 of 22 Bhagavad Gita. Om Brahmarpanan Brahma Vir Brahmagno Brahmana Hatam Brahmaiva Tenagantapam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Means everything is Brahma. Like what we are offering is also Brahma. What we are eating is Brahma. To whom we are offering is also Brahma. Means everything. And the container where the ghee is cooled with the homam. So that is also Brahma. So like that mantra they utter. So this was the second point, that we should be concentrating on eating the food. And the third point, which is most important, which no one follows, is that the minimum 20 times we must chew once you have taken the gulp. So we just try to finish it up, the swallow. The moment it goes below the neck and your eating is over. You just put it in the mouth and you run, like something like that. So this is very bad, because there is no explanation is that there is no machine inside, there is no grinder inside. The whatever you are swallowing, it goes out in the same. And I was happened to be for 8 years, I worked in the laboratory. So I have tested stools of many patients and all, which was tested for. So I have seen, and it was told in this book also, that say 60 to 70% of our food particles, they are undigested food particles. Because if you swallow, it goes as it is. You feel that stomach is full, but you don't get it, either protein or carbohydrate or fat or anything of this nature you don't get. It goes out as it is. So only 30% roughly, 30 to 35% of the food what we are eating daily without chewing. So these are all going waste. But we are habituated, we don't understand, we don't realize this. And so probably only 30% you should eat, and 70% you can give to the poor and those who are not getting food. So this is a crime actually. You are doing a crime on yourself, because if you are not chewing for minimum 20 times and there is no grinder inside in the stomach, it stays for 3-4 hours. But all these digestive juices, they come and the carbohydrate digestion takes place from the saliva when you are chewing, and it is getting mixed. Even hydrochloric acid 0.04%, that also comes. So all this mouth itself, the digestion starts, but we neglect that, we omit it. It just goes to the stomach. So this is the why we have to chew minimum 20 times. Particularly those who are taking non-veg and things like that. Even it is hard, we have habituated to swallow them. That's all. This is the third one, and fourth one is another important thing, that the moment you feel that you are satisfied, you stop. Because there's 1 or 2 gulp is left, but if you don't eat, then you have to throw food, or it will go into the refrigerator again. You have to have for future use. So that should be avoided. You should not overeat. The moment you got this thing that you should not eat more, and you should stop it. So these are the 4. So I'll just repeat once more. First is, whenever you feel hungry, you eat. Second is that concentrate on eating. And the third is that you have to chew 20 times and more, minimum 20 times. And fourth is you stop when you feel that you are satisfied with the food. I try to follow, but may not be 100%, but at a certain percentage. So I've reduced my intake. The first thing is that, so in the night, I take 1 or 1.5 chapati. That is also, the small type of chapati, and some vegetables, that's all. And nothing happens actually. Nothing happens. The body accepts that, because in the night, they say that you must eat early, and then 2-3 hours you can have some work or something to do, and for 10 o'clock or maybe 7:30 I finish my dinner. And then in the morning, you feel so fresh, like otherwise you just eat, and within half an hour you go to bed and eat stomach full. Then in the morning you are not liking to get up, and some indigestion, some gas problems, and something comes. For majority of the problems and majority of the people, they suffer from all this. Because the food habit, particularly now I'm in Kolkata. In Kolkata, the food habit is awesome, because they eat after the night 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or say 1 o'clock in the morning they eat. I just bought one water pizza. The lady is telling, just after eating we don't sleep. Said we take food at about 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock we go to bed. I said, what a time actually. What a time in Kolkata. Because, and I said, what time you get up? She said, I get up at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Then she comes to the shop, and it is the electrical shop. And she stays there up to say 10 o'clock or so. She will be in the shop. Their snacks will take place at 10 o'clock or 10:30. Some samosas or something and all this. And masala mudi or something. So these are all the, and they after 40 years of age, you say that all those gas problem and this problem and acidity, and some 70-80% or more than that actually suffer from all this. So the body is the temple. So we must remember that it is the temple of God. So it should be kept clean with some change of habits here and there. And I just want to mention one story which I take from Paramahansa Yogananda. Paramahansa Yogananda, he was 20 years in the US for teaching yoga. So he was also from Bengal, and this chap, he wrote in his autobiography of a yogi. He wrote that book. This autobiography, he has mentioned a story of one lady, and she was not eating. She was not eating anything. So I don't know whether she is still surviving or she has died. It can be seen in the. Her name was Giribala. Giribala. It was in the autobiography of a yogi. So because people will not believe. So when after 20 years, when he returned to India for a visit, at the time he got 2 Americans, and they came by ship, and they got their vehicle also, one jeep. So in that jeep they were moving around throughout India. They met even Gandhiji and things like that. At the time they went to that Giribala is the Nadia district of Bengal, West Bengal. So her story goes like this: that she was married at the age of 9 years or so, and there she used to eat because she was feeling hungry and all this, and doing a household job, and she used to eat little more rice or things like that. And then mother-in-law used to say that, why are you eating so much, more than everybody else? So she did not like it actually. But this was going on, and then she has that, some sort of limit. So one day she was eating at the time that mother-in-law says, why do you eat so much? So she felt very upset, and then she got up. She left the food and got up, and she wanted to commit suicide. She was going to the river side, and in the river she will go into the water and die. So then there was some sort of announcement from the top. She got that, where are you going? She says that I am going to die. I am going to the river. So that voice said that, is there any alternative? The lady says, okay, think for a while, think for a minute or so, and tell me that is there any other alternative other than this committing suicide? So she thought for a while and said, no, I thought of, and there is no alternative. Then that voice said that, why can't you stop eating? This is also an alternative. And she said, this has never come to my mind. That Girivara says that it never came to my mind, but the voice said that you can stop eating. So that particular afternoon or that evening, she did not eat any food. And the next morning, she got up and all, she thought that she will be dying or something, but she has not died. She is hale and hearty. Then she left the food actually. So then throughout the rest of the life, she has never eaten. And it is recorded. And they have taken the photograph and video and things like that, the American chaps, those who come. And in the footnote of that book, the American scientists, they have said that how is it possible to survive without food? She does some yoga, and half an hour she sits down in the sun and she drinks water. That's all. So some photosynthesis takes place when she is sitting on the sun, even it is diffused sun. The photosynthesis takes place. So anybody can survive without food. So I was very much encouraged with that. So I was trying how to minimize my food intake. So I tried reducing, and also now I stabilized that is this much I should eat. So this gives a lot of courage that the people will not die if you are not eating or something like that. But we are habituated from childhood for so many things, and so that's why habit is creating the problem. So this was the story I thought I will make. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So sorry. Yeah, thank you, Captain. I've heard, I didn't realize this was in this book, but I've heard that this is true, that there was this lady who got, after repeatedly being hassled by her mother-in-law, she had stopped eating. And even today, there are some people, they even take workshops. I'm forgetting the name. There's one person who's very popular who takes workshop, who hasn't eaten in many, many years. And he does, some meditative practices, some Tai Chi. And so basically he says he gets the energy again, from the sun, from the earth, from the environment. And it sounds like amazing. Yeah, but when people do it, it sounds so simple, when they're telling you, but otherwise it sounds like, yeah. So, and one thing that I had liked that I think Captain didn't share today, but he had shared last time, that when you are sitting with the food, just think how that food got here. Like think about the farmer, think about the one who carried it, how it got to your table. Because I don't know, I feel that because we take everything so much for granted, we just feel that, okay, I've paid for it and that's it, right? So the actual price going into anything is so much more then just whatever you pay for it, right? And it's like so arrogant of us to feel that, yes, I've earned it or I've paid for it, and not to honor or just say a thank you, right, to the so many people who have been involved in that process. And again, that when you start doing it, like I was sharing with Captain that I've been able to incorporate a few things. There's a long way to go. But especially this one, this just taking that brief pause to acknowledge, how we are so connected, we don't see it, right? Like how we are connected to so many people. And yeah. So when I went to Auroville, that banyan tree outside Matri Mandir, not outside, just inside. It's so beautiful. It shows how we are all connected, right? And how the individual stems are always all standing, and yet there are other connections. It was really beautiful. Yeah. So the Captain was the star of the show today. Sardaji, did you get anything to share with us?
No, actually, I read something. I stored it also from Aroma. It was, Nirodbaran has written about Sri Aurobindo's, his correspondence. It was very interesting. I stored it in the iBooks, but somehow it got deleted. I don't know.
That's okay. You can maybe share it next time. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It was very, very interesting how Sri Aurobindo did not get angry. It showed very, very, it was, told very nicely. So I wanted to share it today, but when I was looking for it, it got deleted. For next week, we will definitely share it. It was very nice. Yeah. So we all need it, Whoever says something, we'll just get triggered and we'll start jumping. But at least we can hear and slowly we can change ourselves. It was very interesting. And the energy.
So I had a few things to share. Let's see, depending on the time and all, how much we can share. I'll start. Jasmine, I'm assuming that you don't have anything. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you. I should. Before me, would you like to share anything today?
No, not today, but
okay. Yeah. So her son is with her. So okay. So this is the question. That mother, why is it that here in Hi Kabir, mother, why is it that here in work, some people venture to satisfy their fancies and thus much money is wasted? That's the question. And mother replies, it is not money alone that is wasted. Energy, consciousness is infinitely 1,000 times more wasted than money. Should there be no wastage, my word, I believe the ashram couldn't be here. There is not a second when there isn't any wastage. Sometimes it is worse than that. There is this habit, hardly conscious, I hope, of absorbing so much energy, as much consciousness as one can, and using it for one's personal satisfactions. That indeed is something which is happening every minute. If all the energy, all the consciousness which is constantly poured out upon you, all were used for the true purpose, that is for the divine work and the preparation for the divine work, we should be already very far on the road, much farther than we are. But everybody more or less consciously, and in any case instinctively, absorbs as much consciousness and energy as he can, and as soon as he feels this energy in himself, he uses it for his personal ends, his own satisfaction. Who thinks that all this force that is here, that is infinitely greater, infinitely more precious than all money forces? This force which is here and is given consciously constantly with an endless perseverance and patience, only for one sole purpose, that of realizing the divine work, who thinks of not wasting it. Yeah, I'll just go here. You are shocked when a few thousand rupees are wasted, but not shocked when streams of consciousness and energies are diverted from their true purpose. If one wants to do a divine work upon earth, one must come with two of patience and endurance. One must know how to live in eternity and wait for the consciousness to awaken in everyone. The consciousness of what true integrity is. So I just liked it, because usually how we just place money to be really important, right? And we don't see, like we were sharing, the price that we are paying for whatever that we are indulging in. So just to become more conscious of that, it's very beautiful. And when I read it, even the quote from Khalil Gibran, who I think the quote is that they make fun of, I don't know, they call me a fool that I will not sell my days for gold. But I call them, I would call them call them fools because, if they don't know what my days are worth, like it's nothing. Yeah. So this was about, like how we are spending so much on our fancies and how it's just, how the birth, I would say, is getting waste because just one thing after the other.
Yeah, Taru, can you please share the poem just now you were mentioning?
Khalil Gibran?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
let's see. Yeah. So, Tadaji, this is the one. They deem me mad because I will not sell my days for gold, and I deem them mad because they think my days have a price. So I'll share it on the group as well, but I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. Yes. Very nice. Yeah. Please do share.
Yeah, absolutely. I will do that. And then I read something very beautiful again. This is, I don't know how I stumbled upon it. In some faint dawn. So, in some faint dawn, in some dim eve, like a gesture of light, like a dream of delight, thou comes nearer and nearer to me. If anything, please unmute and you can speak. Otherwise, I go on. There's just one. There were two things, but I think the smaller one I'll share. It was very nice. Would anybody like Meera? Would you like to read this one? This is again from the Incarnate World only, but I had copy pasted it here. Can you see this? The Word document.
No, we can still see the screen with the passage that you just read.
I'll pull it up again. Thank you for letting me read. Oh, this is the bigger one.
Yes, no, I can't.
And sorry, I pulled up the wrong.
Okay.
Please.
And again, a man came to the Prophet Muhammad and showed him a nest full of young birds wrapped up in a piece of carpet. I found these birds, my lord, he said, as I came through the wood. Hearing the chirps of nestlings, I looked into a tree and found this nest. Put the nest on the ground, said the Prophet. Then the mother bird swooped down and perched on the edge of the nest, delighted to have found her children. Put the family back where you found them, said Muhammad. And he added, Be kind to animals. Ride them when they are strong enough to carry you. Dismount from them when they are tired. Give them to drink when they're thirsty. In the records of Islam, it is said that one day the angels of heaven said to God, "O God, is there anything in the world stronger than rock?" "Yes," God replied. "Iron is stronger, for it breaks rock." "Is there anything stronger than iron?" "Yes, fire, for it melts iron." "And is there anything stronger than fire?" "Water, for it quenches fire." "And what is stronger than water?" "Wind, for it can move the waves." "And is there anything else, anything even stronger?" "Yes, the kind heart that gives alms in secret, not letting the left hand know what the right hand is doing." Not that today giving alms is a chief way of being kind. Of course, we may help our neighbor with a kind hearted gift, but the story means that by a gift or in any other way, the power of kindness is the strongest power in the world for winning the affection and friendship of others. Suffering is aroused by the suffering of others and joy by their joy. Such is the glorious nature of sympathy.
It's beautiful.
Very unrelated mostly, but just small clips I had from here and there which touched me that I wanted to share. And I think, I don't know, I would say the more mindful one starts being of kindness, one realizes how unkind one is. It's like, because if somebody would just ask you out of the blue, you would say, yes, I'm a kind person, I don't harm anyone. And yet, there's so many things, so many thoughts, comments, judgments that I allow to pass through me, even if, most of them I don't say them out loud. That, tells me that there's so much still left to offer, and kindness cannot be, I think, stressed enough. And I really like the end, where it says that, I don't know exactly what it says, but again, I've experienced this personally, that how, pain pulls pain, sadness pulls sadness, despair pulls despair, pleasure pulls pleasure. How it's like, if I'm feeling something and I don't want to feel that, if I forcibly change my, what I'm thinking that moment, whatever I want, it pulls that state of mind. Suddenly I become that. And I find that very interesting, that how it's like, how again we were talking about connectedness, right? That things are connected. So if I'm feeling depressed, but if I just, not even without, I would say, even without feeling, if I start thinking about, I don't know, kindness or gratefulness, suddenly the atmosphere inside changes. Just a small anecdote and we'll end. It's 8 o'clock. When we were coming back, uh, the taxi driver was a little funny. Like, I don't know how he was driving, but he was taking double the time I thought and what the Google said it would take to get there. And I was scared that we had too many checked in bags and we would not be, the check-in counter would close. So about half an hour when we were away from the airport, I started panicking and I started telling him that I'm not drive fast, late and stuff. And I could see, how it's like, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Like, I'm kind of seeing that, the ambulance is coming, is cutting us, or whatever. I was lost in the drama of the whole thing. And then I realized that he cannot even understand me, right? Like, he didn't know English and stuff. That what am I doing? So I just said it, okay, let me just, I didn't like I would say all parts of me just wanted to sit there and panic, but I just said, I don't think I can do anything here. Like, whatever happens now happens. So let me just think about the mother. And in about 2 minutes, I realized that the reversal had happened. That suddenly I started thinking about one quote, and then something else came, and something, from Rumi came, and we were at the airport. But again, there was a fight at the airport, that is different. But how we have in our hands, we have the power to change where I want to be. Although it doesn't feel that way because we feel a bit overwhelmed, whenever things happen. but we always, and to have such experiences, I think is so much grace and it's so much beauty that when you see it working, again the conviction and the faith deepens and deepens. And I don't know why it doesn't naturally come. It has to, we see it and logically then we start accepting it more and more. That is our own limitation, or mine, I would say. But it's amazing how one can just, it's like a switch. Although it feels that how is it possible? It's sounding mechanical, but it's just a switch, and it
I had something to share, but maybe we can do it the next
no,
time.
we do have time. You please share, Meera. That's great.
Okay, so this is a poem by Sri Aurobindo. It's called On Her Birthday to R. So the background is that so last 2 weeks I've been like extremely restless and I've gotten very anxious, and I don't even know why. So I just read 4 lines of this poem, and as you were saying, it acted like a switch, and then everything somehow suddenly changed. To R on her birthday.
To R.
To R.
Oh, you are?
The letter R.
Oh, sorry.
I hope it's called that.
But you just
rejoice, fear not.
What?
Yeah, rejoice, fear not. Yeah. Okay.
Nothing, but that's fine. Why don't, sometimes it just doesn't pick up stuff. So you read.
Okay, I will just get the poem.
Yeah.
Yeah, not something.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. Okay, it's I think a few paras, but what like extremely resonated with me was this. Rejoice and fear not for the waves that swell, the storms that thunder, winds that sleep. Always our captain holds the rudder well, he does not sleep. If in the trough of the enormous sea thou canst find the sky for spray, fear never, for our sun is there with thee by night and day. Even those who sink in the victorious flood, where do they sink? Into his breast. He who to some gives victory, joy, and good, to some gives rest. But thou look to the radiant days that wait, beyond the driving rain and storm. I have seen the vision of a happier fate brightening thy form. Confident of his grace, accept his will. Let him lead through hidden to the bone. See him in all that happens, that fulfill, for which thou wert born.
Amira, why don't you read the complete thing only for us?
Okay. Yeah. The repetition of thy gracious years brings back once more thy natal morn. Upon the crest of youth thy life appears, a wave upborn. Amid the hundreds thronging ocean's flow, a wave upon the crowded sea, with regular rhythm pushing towards the shore, our life must be. The power that moves, it is the ocean's force, invincible, eternal, free, and by that impulse it pursues its course inevitably. We too, by the eternal might, are led to whatsoever goals he wills. Our help he grasps, our generous sail outspread, his strong breath fills. Exulting in the grace and strength of youth, pursue the ocean's distant bound, trusting the pilot's voice, the master's ruth that rings us round. I'll continue and read the
Yeah, I think just read the full thing. Yeah, thank you.
Rejoice and fear not for the waves that swell, the storms that thunder, winds that sweep. Always our captain holds the rudder well, he does not sleep. If in the trough of the enormous sea thou canst not find the sky for spray, fear never, for our sun is there with thee by night and day. Even those who sink in the victorious flood, where do they sink? Into his breast. He who to some gives victory, joy, and good, to some gives rest. But thou, look into the radiant days that wait beyond the driving rain and storm. I have seen the vision of a happier fate brightening thy form. confident of his grace, accept his will, let him lead. Though hidden be the born, see him in all that happens, that fulfill for which thou wert born. I think this is our whole, what our whole life must be.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
So it's, I mean, it's the answer to even for fear of death. He's saying even if something happens, there's really nothing to be.
Yeah,
It is not such a big deal that we make out of our minds.
absolutely. So there's a story, a captain would know this. It's again a Ramakrishna story. Once they said that Ramakrishna was with some of his disciples was riding on a small boat, and suddenly a huge storm came. And one of the disciples, like a lot of people got anxious, but one of the disciples got really scared. But he saw that Ramakrishna was just, smiling and sitting and as if nothing is there, enjoying like a kid that, wow, it's raining. So he's like that, are you not scared? So Ramakrishna, he just took out his like kind of arm and tried to press the neck of the disciple. And he asked the disciple, and the disciple started laughing. That what are you doing? Whatever you're doing. And he said, are you not scared? Disciple said, no. How will you harm me? What harm can you do to me? And he was like, exactly. So why should I be scared, right? Like when it was like, when my God is playing with me, or even if he does, kindly, I don't think it needs explanation, but it's so beautiful that why would I be scared? Yes, Captain.
I was remembering a small story. Other day I was reading somewhere. This one girl was sitting in the flight, and she was in the one of the front seat. And then captain of the aircraft announced that there are some disturbances in the air, and so kindly put on your belt and sit down in your seat and this and that. And so people are all scared because again and again announcement comes. The aircraft was in turbulence; it was moving up and down and all this. And everybody was discussing that that girl who was there sitting in the front seat, and she was undisturbed. She was very peaceful and all this. Then, after some time, the aircraft stabilized, and then the people that who was sitting there in the nearby seats, they're saying that why you were not disturbed because such disturbance was taking place. She's telling, I have got full faith of my father, and my father is the captain of the aircraft. I know that my father will take me safe from a place to the place where I'm going. That was the faith actually we have to have from the God. So probably that whether it's the waves or whether we are in problem or we are faced with so much of things, and unnecessarily we should not get whatever disturbed because we are the children of the God. Now God has given me sent me here. How can she come? She does not come to save me in that peril if I am in disturbance. So that was the spirit actually. Normally we are in danger. We do faith and belief. We try to have doubt of the God. That if God is there, then why the suffering? Why the pain? Or all this. But actually, so it's a testing time for us. Whether still I am concentrating on that superpower or the supreme. So that was the thing actually. Thank you.
There was one more thing that Alokda shares in one of his talks where he says that, I don't know where it's written, but he says that, when you're sinking, the mother does not stand on the shore, she sinks with you. So there is really nothing to be afraid of, but that somehow tend to forget.
Yeah. And there's a day when I remember, right? When I won't forget that. Let's end with that and not end with that we forget. Whenever I find myself saying this, I always try to, put it in a way that of course, right? That is our destiny that we will not forget. I mean, we are forgetting right now. Yes. So I think let's end on this note, and thank you so much for joining, staying till the end. It was beautiful, and have a good weekend, and see you again
Thank you.
soon. Bye. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Captain.
Thank you. Thank you.